Right, sir.
Now, viewers, welcome once again to another episode of our discussion under security leadership discussion. In security leadership discussion, we bring the real expert, those who have made their name, those who are easily recognized in the fraternity, and those who have made significant contribution to industrial security and safety management. Today, we are going to discuss a subject which is paradoxical, which keeps occupying the mind and attention of security expert as well as safety expert. And they really find somewhere a very fine line demarcating their separate professions where there is merging ground. And today we are going to discuss about same approach which every security and safety professional must take, and that is about synergy between safety and security team for total loss prevention program. This security leadership discussion with Colonel Sanjay Srivastava brings us very close to the subject about safety and security. We have different approaches, but same goal. When we talk about safety and we talk about security management, same goal is to maintain the integrity of human infrastructure, hardware, software, capital, intangible assets of a system. And though it is paradoxical that whereas safety function warrants open and easy approach, at the same time, security needs close and restrictive approach. The literature and practice indicate that the relationship between safety and security has not yet been clearly defined and their boundaries are still remaining very blurry. Colonel Sanjay Srivastava, who is an expert today discussing the subject, is active climate and environmental related disaster risk management professional. He specializes in remote sensing, early warning, and communication, with which he has revolutionized the disaster management setup in India. Colonel Sanjay's contribution in and forecast flood side to weak in a position to predict in advance, which gives adequate warning for preparedness and hence minimum loss. He has involved with scientific institutions and academia in research and teaching. Currently, he is chairperson of Climate Resilient Observing System Promotion Council, CROPC in short, and headquartered at New Delhi, and is convener of Lightning Resilient India campaign, a unique extreme climate change adaptation program. The discussion is brought to our viewers by ICISS, International Council for Industrial Security and Safety Management, which is in forefront in professionalizing the security professionals. And let me share with our viewers that Colonel Srivastava is also vice chairman of ICISS, and in that capacity, he also brings out articles and focus on merging grounds of security and safety professionals. So, Colonel Srivastava, I feel very, very happy and feel part of my personal privilege to welcome you for the discussion. And I would like you to start the discussion uh, about how you see the synergy and the merging ground between two paradoxically apart professions, one which needs open gates, other one which needs closed gates. So to say about their professional approach to the subject. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. At the very outset, sir, I would like to express my sincere gratitude for your blessing and giving me this opportunity to speak at this forum today on a very, very sensitive subject. I am also indeed, I feel lucky that I have seniors like you who have blessed us, groomed us, and taken our journey forward. This legacy of ICISS is a great legacy, sir, and it is not only legacy but an active body which is continuously keeping it contemporarily updated to the future risks and serving as a big knowledge system to the entire industry, sir. With this, coming to the topic proper, sir, the risk is dynamic now. We are into a changing scenario. We have seen the threats which were external. Now, those threats are part of the internal mechanism, and the security scenario in India has changed from low intensity conflict to other multidimensional risks. These risks are basically a sabotage, basically now coming on to the other dimension, that is cyber attack, coming on to misinformation propaganda through a strong social media. There is very strong risks of climate change environment, which is physically affecting us individually. We have recently just gone through the global pandemic COVID 19. So these risks are dynamic, and these risks need to be incorporated in the physical security what we are carrying out. They all have become part of our system. So this is the external factor. The moment you come to the management of the risk, you have other aspects which you have to consider. The existing law and order situation, the local social and economical environment, the local law and order situations, and local resource availability and facilitator like internets, communication systems, and the supply chain management. So, the system which runs the world is basically a ongoing comprehensive supply chain management through which we are fed for our needs. This needs to be secured. So these are the aspects which I feel in the internal aspect of the security which should be incorporated while carrying out the synergy between safety and security teams for total loss prevention. Technology has given us a outreach. We have a very strong management system, monitoring system. Through these monitoring systems, we can monitor the complete synergy, and wherever there is a trigger of any threat, we can easily detect it and proactively proactively respond to it. I hope I have laid the foundation of the complete topic well, sir.
Thank you, Colonel Srivastava. I know as much I am confident our viewers also know that in India, where security is separate function, safety is different function, health and environment is yet another specialized function. So these three functions work separately in silo. Most of the cases, maybe little bit of dialogue. But the British Safety Council advocates about the composite function, health, safety, security, and environment. So back to that synergy which you and me would advocate through discussion like this, because you have seen for such a long time what happens in the field of industrial security. I also have seen very closely, and I feel that not only there should be synergy, but there should be composite function. Maybe I am taking this subject to next level, but is there really right time to discuss about this subject, or do you feel that time will come little later, not right now?
No, sir. It is a very very pertinent time. Rather, we are slightly lagging in this. If you see the developed countries, there is already a composite functioning which has started, sir. Rather, they started quite some time back. It is time now in India that from a compartmentalized functioning, we have a composite functioning. If you see the complexity of the security and safety in India, Ministry of Home Affairs basically looks after the internal security, and under this only we have the police, we have the fire, and we have the disaster management. But the other aspects of health, there is a separate ministry. Similarly, for the environment, we have a separate ministry. And for climate change, we have a separate ministry. So these different cells are there. Scientifically, there is an approach which is taken them together, and through the office of principal scientific advisor to the prime minister, the convergence is taking place. Even now, in the Ministry of Home Affairs, there is going to be a climate extreme hazard cell. So these steps are taken, but still, as far as the composite synergized function is concerned, we are yet to reach a effective level where a synergized effort is discharged by the government authorities and public industry is adequately incorporated into it. We have this need, and this need is required. The moment you see, say, I'll just take an example of security agencies, which are private security or parapolicing, which is there in the industry. They have a very important role. They work along with the complete management and the civil police. At the same time, when we had the pandemic, they had to deal with the pandemic management systems. They had to check everybody at the entry, they had to follow all the COVID compliances. And over a period of time, it just took 1 or 2 months that all the security agencies were well versed in the premier primary screening of the people, that is taking their temperature, taking their other parameters, oxygen, everybody had oximeter. So it is a matter of thought process and need. Need is there. There has to be some enabler to make it possible, and we need a composite functioning.
Definitely, Colonel Srivastava, when you mentioned about what was happening during Corona time, previous to that, everyone thought, I'm talking about at least India, everyone thought that these security personnel are low tech, they can't handle sophisticated gadgets, and they don't understand technology. But fact is that even technological, educated people, those from IIT also do not know much about the technology of the equipments they handle. So it is how one becomes adept and expert in handling the given tools. So security people were during Corona period handling the situation which so far was being handled by health and medical professionals, or handled by safety and firefighting people. But during Corona period, during Corona time did everything. And the question is that why they cannot continue even now when times are so relaxed and things are under control, because they face the challenging time. So now probably the time for giving that push, that it is going to be a composite function, and let's have a team focusing primarily on loss prevention program. That is the phrase which you used initial no introductory comment. Total loss prevention program. So when everything is about reducing the losses, total loss prevention program is very idealistic situation where entire losses are not totally prevented. But then focus remains same. So now third element I want to introduce here. So we so far discussed health and security. Sorry, security and safety. Now another third element is health, and later on we'll discuss about the environment also. So do you see health also dovetails and joins in the total focus?
In fact, you have seen that our security industry has been basically a multi-skill, multitasking industry, sir. These people during Corona times have proved their mettle in not only screening, but a number of places I physically observed and I found they have set up the quarantine center. They have set up the supply chain management for people like looking after the logistics. They have set up even the hospital guard system, hospital management systems, which are there. And even up to the last mile delivery, that is end to end delivery, disposing of the dead bodies and the wastes, there was a significant, commendable role played by the security agency. So this proves that our security industry is multitasking, they are flexible, and they can adapt to the any new challenge which comes in their way. I would like to again stress here on total loss prevention program. It is something akin to the total quality management. In total quality management, we ensure all parameters are taken into cognizance. Even the security industry should think on total loss prevention program, and there has to be a synergy between safety, security, disasters, and other hazards. All hazards have to be taken into cognizance to ensure a total loss prevention program. This is not only theory, but once you work on such concept and such deliverables, the client or an industry which acquires the services of the security agency, they will be highly benefited. In fact, you will find in a company there are various departments which are taking care of small nitty-gritties. If comprehensively it is taken by security industry, that is going to be a additional value addition in the service which they are doing, and these can be monetized suitably, so that the service can be sustained and service is more quality effective.
So your last comment makes me again realize another point to discuss: sustainability. And sustainability leads us to bring into discussion the subject of environment. And you are expert in that. Share with our viewers what you do in CROPC, and do you see again, broader interaction and interplay of your role into total loss prevention program?
The CROPC, by very name, that is Climate Resilient Observing System Promotion Council. The catchword here is the observing systems which are observing the climate, sir. So we have a formal memorandum of understanding with India Meteorological Department, Indian Space Research Organization, and all the sensors, that is the satellites, satellite-based sensors, ground-based radars, automatic weather stations, she-based sonars. We have access to these informations, these observations, and we process this information from the point of view of weather, from the point of view of the geohazards, from the point of view of development. Say an area has to be developed, so the land use planning has to be assessed properly, that whether which area is suitable for industry, which is suitable for habitation, which is suitable for educational or institutional aspects, road, waterways. There are many aspects. Now, with this information, the most striking thing we have observed that there have been very very sharp changes in the weather condition in last few years, especially 5 to 7 years. We have started getting very intense rain, and there are gaps, long gaps between two rainfalls. Earlier, 5 centimeter, 10 centimeter rain was a, very rare thing. Now 10 centimeter rain in 1 hour, it has, become something like very routine. What happened in Mumbai, what happened in Kerala, what happened in Maharashtra, what is going to happen now next one day again in the Western Ghat. So such scenarios suddenly create flash flooding, which is more pronounced in the urban areas. You will find suddenly Gurugram or suddenly a local area of Delhi or any town, urban intense flooding for a very short time. This disturbs the entire supply chain management and the business continuity of the organization. The entire functioning becomes standstill. Sir. The pollution is so much that the moment NCR it wakes up, the pollution starts. And by 9, 10 o'clock, it is at peak. There is an incident which happened on 30th May. Pollution was so much that there was sudden, thunderstorm in Delhi, NCR region. Sudden thunderstorm which could not be even detected by the systems. And this created huge lightning, heavy rainfall. The water also, rain water which used to be pure and we used to take privilege, we used to have fun in taking a dance. This water is now adulterated water with acid, contents. So it is not advisable to now take bath in these waters. So the overall intense heat, intense rain, and high pollution. These three things are big observations, and these three things are detrimental to the industry. And to overcome the same, the security industry needs to have these things incorporated in their plan. We have the proper warning system, we have the proper assessment system, which they should take into account. We have now 7 days weather, 24 hours weather available on your palm top, on your Google, on your mobile phone. In addition, these things are affecting, if you do not take cognizance, it is affecting our productivity, our health. In Delhi, NCR region, in last, which leave aside the COVID, if you take every year during the winter, the pollution affects everybody. And your weakness or your illness is aggravated due to these environmental factors. Now, to overcome this is you need to have the proper water bodies. You need to have the less emission, the greenhouse gas emission. Water is the most important thing. It absorbs 60% of the heat sink. So water has to be there. Like I stay in Vasant Kunj, there is Sanjay one, there are jheels, lakes around. There is JNU, there is Shankar Vihar Army Cantonment area. So it's full of water body and the vegetation. So the temperature here is definitely far better, less polluted. But you go to certain areas in other parts of the NCR region, they are bubbling hot and they are on the wrong soil. So it is important that environmental factors need to be ascertained before you have to take these things into account and then plan your complete function. We are not into now safety, security, disaster management. We are into now business continuity functions. Any security professional should ensure that his organization or company's business must continue despite impending risks. So we should advance and work on a fundamental that there should be total loss prevention and business continuity. And unless we run the business, we ensure the business, we give a warranty to the business continuity. The revenue of the company should not suffer, and we must ensure that the desired goal of the organization which they are serving must be accomplished. And all these risk factors should ensure the business continuity. I hope I have elaborated it adequately, sir.
Yeah, you did, Sanjay. You did very well in explaining the focus slightly shifted during Corona time. You and me recall that we start hearing about Corona in December 18, and by April, people were talking about initially that good that winter is approaching and it will finish during winter. Then people start telling, good, now summer is approaching because Corona cannot withstand summer. And around same time, April, I wrote, and many people, you know, very angrily reacted. And I mentioned in that post that Corona is not going anytime soon. In fact, we have to start living with Corona as we live with the chickenpox or any other viral fevers. But then Corona changed we came out of the innocence. We very naively thought that security is security, safety is safety, and health, environment, firefighting, a whole lot of they have their reasons to exist. Today, now we are talking about the synergy. Today, we are now talking about changing and merging of roles. And security fraternity must also be similarly aligned with changing and merging of roles. Change management is very difficult. So today, as expert, I look up to you and want through you our viewers to know what are the ways and means, because I am core security professionals, how I pick up a few more tools and tackles, not physically but mentally and intellectually. How should I become a kind of person who is multitasking and management should be trusted?
I will just illustrate it with an example of the COVID, sir. You know, during COVID, I was rather, you know, we were running a national COVID helpline. And besides hospital admission, there were phenomenal demands of everything from many states and organizations. It was that time when the security industry came as a big help to me. And there is a state, Nagaland, in Northeast, which is slightly transport wise, communication wise difficult. But entire security professional, their coalition and coordination ensured that Nagaland does not suffer with COVID as the rest of the India has suffered. I will just give you an example. Geographically, through this network of security industry, we came to know that in Gandhi Dham, Gujarat, there is a cylinder making company. From Gandhi Dham, from Kutch, we moved the cylinder to Ahmedabad. It was airlifted from Ahmedabad, brought to Gurugram. The Senani logistics from Gurugram transported by road the entire supply logistics before COVID could reach Nagaland. So entire coalition of COVID security industry came together and did a proper resource, availability at Nagaland. So before COVID could reach Nagaland, the entire setup was ready, and Nagaland suffered the least due to the COVID. Even people who came from outside were well quarantined at Mukokchung or at Dimapur, and the security industry played a big role. And I must compliment through this platform that what others can not even think of doing it, that this industry is capable of developing, doing, and delivering. And Chief Minister of Nagaland has all accolades for our network. So we have a great network. Now the opportunity for us is that in the changing risk environment, ICISS can serve a platform for knowledge, for training. Our regular newsletters, which you write every time, and it is very rich in content, we must educate our fraternity about the total loss prevention program with these new identified areas of risks, prevention, and how to ensure the business continuity. There are so many aspects. You saw Pelosi, the American speaker, the moment she landed at Taiwan, the Taiwan entire internet network was paralyzed. The moment Russia attacked Ukraine, the internet communication network was paralyzed. Such challenges will keep taking place. And to the advantage of the security and safety professional, they are used to taking challenges. They know how to function without communication, how to have alternative devices, how to have the field signals, on how to ensure that the delivery is of the goal is achieved. So we have a good time. This is the time when a lot of knowledge is floating around. These knowledges, these provisions which exist in ensuring the total loss prevention should be ensured. Like everywhere now you go, mask is mandatory. Who checks? It is the safety and security professional. When you take a material, it is checked by the safety and security professional. Now there are a lot of security and safety professional who are into the toll management system, who are into the expressway traffic management systems. There are security and safety professionals in the port management systems. There are n number of avenues which are emerging, and these are the areas where we as professionals of ICISS can serve as a knowledge platform, as a training platform, as a regulatory platform. And whatever is the new challenge, we can be part of the industry and give them proper certification. You'll be surprised there is no certification for COVID management so far. We can start a course on this, and the moment everybody is there, he can just show this is my certification for this. We need to have our people, they handle the computers, they handle the complete software management. So at various level we can have cyber security programs for them, that yes, they are qualified and they can understand this. We have the hacking or the mobile WhatsApp which is going on. So those are small things. These certifications will give a accreditation, will give a value addition to our safety and security. And we need to have tools to integrate them, synergize them, and we need to have a forward looking, open thinking towards the future environment.
You're right, Colonel Sanjay. If you recall, and our viewers may also recall, few years back there was Western grid failure, and those who understand even the basics of electricity transmission, they know that overdrawal can cause grid failure, but not to that level. It will be transmission lines, it will be few clusters, it will be uh, a few specific areas where overdrawal is happening, but entire Western grid cannot fail. So it was believed, and that time I wrote an article that it is handiwork of China, and Stuxnet was the reason behind attack on our energy distribution system, power distribution system. Same thing people alleged had happened in case of Aryabhatta launch. That was also blamed to China and Stuxnet again. But today, when you talk about what has happened when Russia attacked Ukraine, or when Nancy made Pelosi in Taiwan, uh, again, there was a lot of shemozzle about cyber attack. This hybrid warfare is no more going to be fought by the army. Hybrid warfare would be fought by people like you and me. Every person standing will have to fight the hybrid war so far as it comes to every handheld equipment in the hands of common citizen, because they are connected to lots of networks and they are connected to lots of business network. So any vulnerability of equipment in my hand will be vulnerability of entire system. And again, I am reminded of Speed 3. Those who have not seen it, see that it focuses on such situation where entire cyber network uh, is attacked. So it is very vivid and very scary situation, part of imagination, but now appearing to be part of reality because what has happened in recent past. So back to the subject about security people. Government is very, very uh, aware of what needs to be done. Few changes are going to be done. You have indicated. Yesterday, uh, myself, along with Colonel Shemwal, our chief patron of ICISS, and president of ICISS, Captain Manoj Kumar. Three of us were present there. You also were part of same discussion, which I am focusing. The discussion happened at BIS headquarters, Bureau of Indian Standards. They want to standardize the security service delivery process, the delivery which needs to be improved, the delivery which needs to be timely and accurately. Whole things were discussed, and it was BIS initiative. And I am also aware, and I want to share with our viewers that government also needs is already thinking to have that diversification, and not only diversification but also unification in other way, reverse direction, where our prison management, maybe border management, highway management, transmission line security, railway line security, and our justice disposal system, part of delivery of challan and warrants and summons. This will be done by security people. So there is a lot of thinking, advanced thinking, and with this in background, Sanjay Srivastava, I request you to make closing comment uh, with the perspective of imagining that you had the magical glass and you are seeing the future of safety, security, health, and environment profession. So let's have your uh, that imagination, that future forecast or future telling.
There are few important things in safety and security industry, sir. There are few basic fundamentals. There are procedures, there are SOPs, there are physical fitness, there is organizational transparency, delegation. So these are the basic fundamentals of any safety and security system. The audit, the checks, the mock drills, these are part of the system. So whatever threat comes in future, the basic fundamental should not be compromised. So that is my first point, sir. As far as the future is concerned, and as far as the standardization of security service in India is concerned, Bureau of India, BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards, is highly concerned. And if you go to a developed country, there are let down conditions, that there are KPIs, key point indicators, that these points have to be delivered, these deliveries have to be made, and there are service level agreements, not only the deliverables but the service level agreements. Say a fire has to be extinguished, it has to be extinguished within 5 minutes. If a medical response has to be there, it has to be there within 5 minutes. So depending on the type of services, there are service level agreements, like business continuity of a communication system, it has a zero, service level agreement. There are redundant systems and it has to have automatic switching on. Similar service agreements are there for the power industry. There cannot be a power breakage, there cannot be an outage. Like we had a western grid failure, and in that time our western India is most industry prone productive, region. Just by mere few hours of, western grid failure, we had 20 lakh crore rupees loss. So we have many systems which will come now as are part of the safety and security industry. Banking system, financial systems, they are going to be one of the most targeted, system. So new avenues will come, and the future of security industry, I feel that in addition to the basic fundamentals, they have to acquire the new skills to meet the future challenges. And the future challenges, as I have identified, cyber network, there are robotics, there are drone attacks which are taking place. You have seen now drone has come up in a big way. Similarly, the financial threats which are there, and to the financial institutions like banking, like RBI, there are a lot of, threats which exist. In fact, one of my friend, she is heading the, corporate digital transfer mechanism of a bank, and she says that there are so many, hackers, so many, every day they are bombarded with such, threats, and it becomes at times difficult beyond the system to, match the challenge. And this is an innovative process. You saw recently that a British bank could not function for 24 hours, and the entire cash mechanism was, it suffered. So there are biological, there are pandemics, there are digital, there are internet, there are cyber. So multiple dimension of threats are there, and as the world is moving, if you see, the world is moving towards a total localization, total individual centric, and from big screen to small screen, and everything digitized. So this does facilitate the business, this does give the outreach, but this also creates a sense of various risks. These risks need to be identified. You are seeing that people just call on, or call on your mobile, take your OTP numbers, make you scan something, and your bank account is, wiped off. So these are the threats which need to be identified in future, which are going to be there. As far as the, we heard that Andhra Pradesh chief minister said that there was heavy rain in Andhra Pradesh and it was done by some other country. He is not talking off the hat. He's talking with some sense behind it. So there are multiple hazards which are there, and for which our safety and security industry has to be always, abreast with it. There has to be a total loss prevention attitude, and that attitude will only ensure that there are no failures and there is always business continuity ensured.
Thank you, Colonel Sanjay. In fact, before starting this discussion, I was talking with one of our friend, and you might know him, Mr. Yuan Christian of ISIO, and he was talking about biological threats. And we had about 60 minutes conversation. And I got worried about biological threats. Monkeypox, we are not even paying attention. Newspaper or on TV, when report of monkeypox comes, we switch off our thinking part of our brain. 5 reported cases of monkeypox in India. 2 died. The fatality rate, when numbers increase, it's going to be very, very hard to handle the situation.
So these
So,
are yes, sir.
pardon?
Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. So I was talking about biological threats also. Maybe at appropriate time we will talk about purely on environment, and then followed by purely on biological threats. And your knowledge and expertise will come in handy, and I will invite you for further discussion on purely the subject which you are handling, and government's initiative and your hard work uh, has started showing the results. I know that few applications you have developed for farmers, for giving them forecast and preparing them for next season of crop, and how they should handle their soil, the pattern of crops, and weather forecast. So we'll discuss about that, but that time will come, and surely on mutual convenient time we'll handle the subject. I immensely thank you, and thank all our viewers to be part of this discussion. Spare some time again, Srivastava. For the present discussion, you have been very immensely candid, and your expertise, your knowledge on the subject shows uh, through your comments, highly valued, and I am sure that our viewers, as much as we in ICISS feel obliged for your discussion. But then, yes, I would not say thank you again, because you are part of ICISS yourself. Viewers, remain tuned in, subscribe to our channel. The link is given before we make the discussion in real time. All our discussions are live, unedited, candid discussion. Next discussion will be again on some very important subject. Till that time, remain happy, remain healthy. May God bless you with all the wisdoms and all the